but there's a big group of people, like this thing, the Company of Science and Art in Providence. Like, these guys are really deeply into this whole computer programming thing, and they're really big on the band. Actually, that's who started the FIshNet. These guys, and they were all there last night. It's really interesting. There's like 7 people who I knew from different parts of the country who knew each other through email, but had never met. They were all there last night.
Email pen pals.
Yeah, and they were all there like meeting last night. But it's really cool stuff. They've been talking about all this virtual reality, like mixing virtual reality in with the gigs and putting, like Junta is supposed to come out on CD soon, but the problem is that it's a little bit over the length. It's 75 minutes. It's a limit for one CD.
Really?
So Junta is about 90 minutes. So you have all this extra space. If it was 2 CDs, you have all this extra space left over. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you know about this, but you can store video images and stuff on CD-ROM. It's like the exact same storage capability. So we're thinking about storing video, not like your standard rock video kind of thing, but it could be anything. It could be interactive computer stuff where possibilities are endless with computers, but store it on the disc and sell Junta and have it be a thing where you could buy it and listen to the audio, or put it in the CD-ROM and do a whole different sort of video game sort of. So really cool stuff.
That's pretty hot.
They've already done it. Did you see the Esther video?
Yeah, I did. I was here last summer. They did that. Yeah, I know. Actually, my friend's older brother his name is Greg DeCampa.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, Greg DeCampa he's the main guy.
Main dude.
He's the one who started CoSA. Yeah, he was there last night. He was one of the ones there last night. And this guy Henry, I think this other guy's name is. He's here, and this woman Shelley from San Francisco flew out. There she is.
Wouldn't you know?
I think that's her. Shelley! I'm going to introduce you, and I already forgot your name.
Matt.
Oh, Matt. Hey. How you doing? Good to see you. What's happening? This is Matt. Shelley?
There's a bunch of net heads over here.
What's that?
There's a bunch of people from the net meeting over here.
Oh, really? Well, you should meet these people if you're into computers. I was just telling him about you. He's actually doing an interview with me right now.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. That's okay. Are we going to do this later on tonight?
I would very much like to. I have a list of questions and I have my tape recorder with me. So,
Great. I don't know where we're going to
if you have the energy to do it.
I would be really happy to do it, yeah.
I'm totally flexible.
Are you going to meet Allison tonight?
I have not been able to communicate with Allison because I'm here, so I don't have access to my computer.
Right.
But I'll look for her. She told me.
Yeah. She's usually in the front row.
So I'll look for her. Yeah, I try to hang up there too. I try to be greedy for the space, but at my size, it's like that's the place to be. So I just try and be small.
Unless you're in the front row of the balcony or something.
But it's not the same.
But anyway, yeah, all right, we'll definitely try to do it. The only thing that would hold us back tonight would be if those guys are like, really want to leave, unless you want to give me a ride to the hotel.
That's totally no problem. I've got to rent a car.
Oh, all right. Well, if you wanted to do that, then we could definitely do it.
I'm totally flexible.
Fine. We'll definitely work out.
Good.
Let's catch you in there. Great.
Good to see you.
See you later. So you got where are all these people from?
Just this table over here.
That table where that woman is bouncing her head up and down?
Yeah, with the red sweater on.
Yeah. Those people are all from the Fish.
All from the FIshNet. We all decided to meet here since we've never seen each other physically.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, you should meet these people. It's a really cool thing. Maybe I'll come over and say hi on the way up. See you later.
We're hooked up. All I have to do is just get the power cord from my computer and I'll be all set.
Right.
I forgot to bring it.
It's really cool. This whole FIshNet thing is amazing.
Yeah, I just read about it in the flyer. Sounds like a pretty. I can't imagine what kind of interesting things would be on it. But
I read some of it. Well, Shelley, this woman, she's the first person I ever heard about it from. I mean, I knew about John Green, who's this guy who works with CoSA, with DeCampa.
Right.
He's the one. He does a lot of their programming for them. He's a big Phish head. He's the one who programmed we have a laptop that we take on the road. All our accounting and everything is computerized, and then we modem stuff from the road back and forth to our manager. And he programmed our laptop. It's a really great program. It's like a Mac,
Yeah.
Windows and stuff. But so like every gig, like when we come to Boston, I can punch in at the beginning of the thing, and it'll say Somerville Theatre. Somerville Theatre, there are all these different folders you can pull out, like technical information to say how much power Somerville Theatre has, kind of, for the lights and stuff, blah, blah, blah.
Such a bonus.
Local, addresses of local places to eat, hotels, phone numbers, music stores in the area. They'll say what our set list was last time we played there. so that we don't play the same songs. You know, what our set list was in the last time we played in that town, not necessarily the same venue. The thing is, it just started, so it started after the last time we played there, shortly afterwards, so it hasn't gone by that far back. But this whole national tour, we've been plugging in all this information, you know, all the way down to comments from band members at the end of the gig. If there's something you want to remember, like this place has a really bad low boom, you know, like bad bass
seats
track.
vibrate when you play a bass,
or something like that, you know, so you can punch all that stuff into it, and it's really incredible. And also, of course, the main thing is all the financial stuff, all the, you know, how much money you made at the door, what tickets cost, what the contract information was.
You guys are pretty wired as far as like just getting things, or as far as the organization level is concerned.
Definitely, it's getting going really, really in a good way. But this whole computer thing has been really interesting to me because, like, those guys, Greg, you know, we've been talking to him before he started CoSA. We were talking to him about trying to get CoSA, you know, it's a company of science and art, mixing cutting-edge computer technology with art, and we were the art side of it, basically. So we've been doing stuff with him ever since the beginning of the company, and he's moving along now. We're moving along. Just last night we were talking about all these different things we could do. You could have like a virtual reality sort of thing where you went into the computer and there was graphics of the crowd, like you're at a concert.
Right.
I don't know if that's us.
I'll go check it out.
That's not us. Somebody else just went up there.
Okay.
Anyway, you could like kind of be walking through the crowd.
Right.
And you could even like have a thing where there's a set list. You could write in the set list.
Yeah.
And like the band would play that, you know, because you could have video of 50 or 100 different songs. You know, and you could like, and you could like walk over to the bar, you know, because they had that kind of technology. You could put that on a disc, you know. You could have a disc that was live Phish concert that had, you know, a whole number of songs. You could play, you know, put in an order that you wanted them to play on your computer, though. It would have to be on your computer.
It's definitely possible. I mean, you can see how it's done. I'm thinking of ways, but that's.
So I don't know. All this stuff is.
You could take it far. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. It could be really cool. But that's why it's good to know, especially if you're going into computers. It's a good bunch of people to get to know. They're all really cool people too.
Yeah, well, good. I mean, keep in touch with Dan.
Definitely.
Greg's younger brother.
Definitely keep in touch with him. So, did you have a question?
Well,
or did you leave it there?
Why not? I don't know. I was just thinking, like, what's the situation with the new album and
the new album?
Picture of Nectar.
Well, we just finished today. The reason I was so frazzled when I saw you was because we just got out of about a 5-hour-long meeting with our lawyer, where we were talking about the contract with Elektra, which is the label that we're signing with. And that's like, basically, there's 3 or 4 different contracts going on. It's like 100 pages worth of legal jargon. And so we're dealing with that right now, and we're being very careful. We've been dealing with it for months because we're not in any rush. And I don't know if this is interesting to people, but what I'll tell you, you can pick out whatever you think is interesting. But we're just trying to get the situation that we've gotten is a really good one now. We're set up in a good way. We've got all kinds of creative control and keeping the merchandising aspect. The thing is that our last album was on an independent label, and the independent label folded. We didn't get paid anything for like 10,000 copies of the album that was sold. It was a complete disaster, which didn't really bother us all that. I mean, it did. You know, you want the money. That was a lot of money that we should have gotten. Like the company folded before they paid us and declared bankruptcy. And so at that point, we decided once and for all that we were going to pursue other kind of, you know,
more
avenues like a major label. You know, but we didn't actually pursue them. They pursued us. They had been talking to us. We just hadn't made any firm decisions, and that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. Elektra is a really great. As far as the majors, I think it's the best. Their catalog is really diverse. Smaller than the other major labels, but big enough to be stable. There's been a thing going on with a lot of when the economy was booming in the 80s. A lot of small labels. A percentage of those record companies are folding now. A company like Elektra is big enough to be stable, and their president is pretty. You know, their whole philosophy is a good philosophy, and I think they're a stable company. They've also got, as far as majors, they're diverse enough for our taste to show that they're interested in good acts and that they treat their acts well. We've called managers and talked to other bands on the label before we ever, they've got Danny Gatton and Billy Bragg, sort of medium level alternative people. Billy Bragg's been on the label for a long time. He's happy with his situation on the label, and he's somebody who's hard to classify. Usually, he's the kind of person that would be a problem for a record label. They've also got this Explorer series with all these smaller national acts like Buzu Chavis, and people like these sort of folk type things. Mm-hmm. They've also got like the Bulgarian Women's Choir, which is a group that I saw once that was one of the most incredible musical experiences I've ever seen. They've got a thing where they have new contemporary composers series on Elektra. This is on the Elektra Explorer. It might be on Elektra Nonsuch, which is a smaller division. But anyway, to make all this short, I think it's a great label.
You don't feel pressured like you basically do your own thing, and
we're doing our own thing. On this album, they haven't said anything to us. We recorded it ourselves. We produced it ourselves. We picked the studio. We did everything completely ourselves, and they didn't give us a hard time at all. They love the album. Mm-hmm. So we're putting it out. It's going to be out in the middle of February.
Yeah.
And
great.
Should be good.
But
I was talking about the label. I don't know if you want to know about that or if you want to know about the album itself.
Yeah. Actually, I was interested in that in the album. Like, what kind of they name what songs are going to be on it? Or
yeah,
maybe,
it's going to have a llama, stash, tweezer, poor heart, my poor heart, Guelah Papyrus. We're going to do a couple of those tonight probably. It's got a lot of good songs. I think it came out well. I think we tried to do some jamming in the studio, which we always try to do, and sometimes it's successful and sometimes isn't. Like on Junta, I think David Bowie was a good captured thing. We just walked in the studio and played it once, and that was it. Nice. We're just like, no takes, just we're going to play it, and that's it. So that was it. We played it once, and the same thing with Golgi on that. Yeah. Golgi was the first thing we ever played in the studio. The one on Junta. We just walked in, and we played it once, and that was it. We never touched it, We dubbed some backup vocals and stuff, and we did the vocals, but in terms of the jamming. So we tried to do that on we've always tried to do that. I think we've got a couple really good moments on the album that way. Plus it sounds good, and we worked with a really cool engineer, and we're pretty happy with it. But we're already thinking about the next one. That one hasn't come out yet. I've already written a lot of songs since that one, and that we're doing now on this tour. Yeah. And so we'll be doing another one in like about a year.
Yeah, Paige is talking about that. You just write stuff on the road.
Yeah.
Keep it coming.
Right. I was writing a lot of stuff when we had a little vacation there, and then we just started playing those. So that's been the focus on this tour. We've been focusing on the songs after. That already seems old to us. It hasn't even come out yet. Literally, I swear to God. It hasn't come out yet. It already seems old.
Well, it's cool that you guys have enough. You just have the constant flow of inspiration. You keep writing music all the time. That's a good position to be in.
The only problem is that we've been touring so much. It's starting to get a little tiring. Mm-hmm. We're talking about taking off from the end of January until the beginning of March. From the beginning of January to the beginning of March, New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be our last gig. I think New Year's Eve is going to be our last gig until March, which will give us 2.5 months to write.
Didn't holler for our sandwich, did they?
I think they probably did.
Okay. That ain't it. All right. What was it? Oh well, I'll think of something else.
I saw you had a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah, I was just like thinking of that. Wasn't quite sure what to ask, but hey, it sort of came.
Whatever you want to know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm curious about the whole Gamehendge theme. What is that?
That's pretty old. Old. That's not the right answer to that question. It's I wrote the Gamehendge thing as a musical a number of years ago, and the Gamehendge musical that I wrote started focusing on a period of time in this place, Gamehendge, and I was completely involved in it for like 6 months or something, just day and night. That's all I was doing, and that was Colonel Forbin, Tila, Lizards, AC/DC Zags, Sloth, Wilson. It was based on, my friend Tom was kind of an inspiration for it. Tom, who writes our lyrics. Right. Is that us? David? Anyway, a poem that he wrote, which is the poem in the middle of McGrupp.
Right.
I don't know if you know that song.
I think I do. I don't
know. Up in the watch, it's like, I've alternated my meager flock to the shores of the Baltic Sea. We don't do it very much anymore. It's old.
What's the name of the song that goes, and you climb so slow?
Oh, that's Colonel Forbin.
Okay.
Right, that's good. Part of the central part of that.
Getting the Mockingbird.
Right, the Mockingbird and all that. So that's the whole game issue. But then it started just taking on, so now it just has become like this huge thing that is completely, I mean, for years it's like been growing into this real thing, you know? And Divided Sky is the thing that's sort of before it. Like before that period of time, and Llama is about, that's a new song, and that's the first song on the new album, and that's about many years after this. There's like the Wilson era. There's the Wilson era in the middle there where Wilson was reigning, and then the overthrow of Wilson. That all took place in the musical Gamehendge, The Man Who Stepped Into Yesterday, which is, that's what it's called. And then it goes on forever, you know what I mean? So Llama is in the future. And Divided Sky is in the past in Gamehendge. So, like the past in Gamehendge, everything was, serene, and it was just like living in nature there. And then there's the whole Wilson era, and then Llama is like, it's become a war-torn, there's like different factions fighting. After the overthrow of Wilson, someone else took over who just
didn't sound like at the end. I guess at the end after. After Wilson was booted, it didn't sound like there was peace in the land. It sounded like Aaron Wolf was.
He's the next one.
Yeah.
He just took over, but he didn't really last because, he tried to take over shortly and was then overthrown again, basically and the whole thing just turned into turmoil.
Yeah,
different people.
I don't know where I heard it. I heard it from some tape, and at the very end of the tape, it was like you go through going. Like he's just taking the exact place of Wilson.
Right. That's
cool.
The same thing.
Pick that up.
So then Llama, you got to hear Llama. When you get Llama on the album, you can when you can really read the lyrics. Llama takes place with this guy sitting on top of a mountain. He's like a rebel, and these people are coming up, and the rain is coming down. These people are coming up, and these like guerrilla forces are coming up in the mountain. And he's got this llama next to him. With this thing over its back with these two bazookas, like double bazookas hanging off the side, and that's the llama to boot is the sound of the guns going off, like to boot, And then he's like, and they have this whole thing where it's like it's like their religion sort of thing is that it's sort of like the Japanese kamikazes who were willing to kill themselves for their cause, and he hit this thing called a blastopass. This is this like sort of smart bomb that he triggers a blastopass at one point in the song, and it just blows up all the people climbing up the mountain and himself, And he says, "I'm going to enter the Delta," and that's like their sort of heaven. It's kind of complicated, but you'll get it when you read the lyrics. It's hard to understand the lyrics because they go by so fast.
I'll trust you.
But so Gamehendge goes on. It's just.
Just a story that just
big,
keeps growing.
The main part of it is this one period of time.
Yeah.
I mean, so far. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's where it is now.
It took me a while to figure out what was what was being trying to say, but
right. You probably don't know everything yet.
No, I don't know.
But if you heard that one with the you heard the one that you were telling me about with the story, with the narration, then you've got a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
If you know about Tila and all that stuff, the unit monster.
Yep.
There's a lot of characters.
Yeah, it was entertaining. Definitely. Do you like most of your lyrics? Most of your lyrics. It's nice because most of the lyrics don't have to have any heavy, deep spiritual meaning, or maybe politics don't play much of a role. How do you how do you come up with lyrics? You said before that.
How do which ones are mine and which ones are?
Yeah, some of them are. A lot of them are different. Are different persons.
Right.
And a lot of them they don't even are just other guys. It's poetry.
Right. For a while, the first two albums was mostly mine until actually Lawn Boy. I started working with Tom.
Yeah.
Tom and I had been friends since we were writing songs like in 8th grade. Like he's the one who wrote Golgi with me, and that was really a long time ago. And so we both had the same our lyrics have us. That's us.
That's us. All right. You can I'll carry it on later. Okay. We were talking about the origin of the lyrics, actually.
Oh.
But
Okay. So, it all depends, you know. Songs start to, when I write them, I think with both me and Tom, we both have a really similar thing, which is we really like words.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll send me these. Stash is a good example.
Mm-hmm.
Stash was like 5 different poems. That's little paragraphs out of about 5 different poems that Tom sent me that I took different paragraphs out and started seeing meaning. You know, you start to see meaning behind certain things, and then you add more lyrics to it. Mm-hmm. You know, and there's different levels of that. Like, generally, by the time we start playing things live, at least after a few playings, I start to know exactly what the songs are about. Like, to me, you know. But some of them, like Chalk Dust Torture, is a really vague one. You know, I figured out what it was about. You know, and after having played it for a few months, suddenly one night it just hit me. I was laughing on stage. I was saying I knew what it was about. You know, and it's probably different than what Tom might think it's about. But a lot of times we agree. But I think it starts out with just words, just really liking plays on words, and having that come into meaning, and then you add things to it.
Yeah. Do you mind if I run a take too? Because you might ask some of the same questions that I have written down, and then we won't have to backtrack later.
Go ahead, yeah. But
yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, nothing. That there's. I always thought, you know, that if there's a meaning there, it certainly wasn't obvious.
Right. Depends on what song it is, though.
Yeah.
Like there's one song on the. I usually am pretty into letting people figure out their own meanings, but there's one song on the new album, the Mango song.
Yeah.
That one, I know exactly what it's about. So, and it's so funny when you know what it's about that I decided to write something. Oh, great. Toolbox. I decided to write something like in the line of yeah, about what it's about. Which normally I wouldn't. Normally I'm kind of against that because I like what other people are going to figure out. But
You got.
I'm it's so weird. The lyrics are so weird, but if you know what it's about, they're so funny. That actually, I'm doing that with both the songs that I wrote on this album. I'm doing that with both of my lyrical songs on this. There's only 2 of them that I wrote the lyrics to. Llama and Mango. And
What is it about?
Mango song is about a waiter who is like a drug addict, and it's kind of like stupid. All I'm going to say is something like, it'll say the Mango song, and I'll say something like, a day in the life of a waiter / drug addict. He's like a heroin addict in this thing. And it says inspired by my 2 years as a dishwasher. When I wasn't by any means a heroin addict or anything. I wasn't, you know, but I was only like 15, but I was definitely like, I hated it so much. And my girlfriend has been in the restaurant business for years, waitressing and like all this stuff while she's going to school and all that. And I know a lot of people are cooks, and I just like it's funny. It's this whole kind of underlying part of culture in the restaurant business, and so this guy in my song, he's got illusions of grandeur, like he's thinks he's going to be some great something or other, but he's this waiter and he's a drug addict. And if you know that when you listen to the lyrics, they're really funny. I mean, it goes, well, you want to hear about it?
Sure, why not?
It goes, spasm waiter dropping to his knees sees slander on rat paper ties. Lifting up his head, he feels the sunlight in his eyes. That's what he's like, kind of imagining. Like, he's got these illusions of seeing people writing things about him and stuff. Like, people really care about him, but they don't. Because he's just and then it says, grasp a kettle top and shoot the breeze, please. That's that's him talking to the cook in the back room. Yeah, casting health off and shoot the breeze, please. And then it goes, ramble while slop scraper sighs. That's him, like, he's talking to the guy that, shut up, He's like flipping the burgers. And then it goes, it goes, ramble while slop scraper sighs, tossing in his bed at night, he'll dream until he dies. Then it goes, operations at the sink, the dribble liquid visible beneath his troubled eyes. That's him, like, shooting out, or something. And then it says, feels it tilt and start to slide. That's him, like, getting off in the bathroom. And then back out into and then it goes, mask a pretty hopper's foot with squeezed cheese. That's supposed to be like screwing around with the waitresses, like spraying squeezed cheese. I know you want some water, but I have no cup for you. Are you done with that? No. We'll just wait for a minute. I can't give you any water quite yet, Marley, unless I pour it in my hand. Then it goes, mask a pretty hopper's foot with squeezed cheese. What are you going to do?
I was going to dump the water out of this for the...
Why don't you just pour the water in here then? That'll be good. Okay. Oh, you know what I can do? Pour the water in there. You can have that spring water, and I'll just turn this into a cup. It goes, mask a pretty hopper's foot with squeezed cheese.
Or this cup?
Well, these things make really good...
Okay.
These things make really good cups, too.
Whoops.
What are the lyrics I said? Mask a pretty hopper's foot with squeezed cheese. Dangle some grape apple pies. That's just him screwing around some more. And then it goes tranquil and serene until he runs out of supplies. And then your hands and feet are mangoes. All right, now this will explain how the lyrics come about too. The rhombus, the rhombus is a real thing. The rhombus actually exists. And Tom and I sit on the rhombus and write songs, like often. As a matter of fact, this incredible thing happened. Tom got married. And she's psyched. Tom got married recently, and the night before his wedding, he wanted to relive all our high school days. So we all met at the Rhombus at a certain time. Tom and I and this guy Dave, who wrote Runaway Jim with me. Right. Dave and I wrote Runaway Jim together. And he's here. He's in Boston. I'm so glad I just remembered that. Pardon me?
Is Henry on tonight? Because he was concerned because he didn't touch base with him.
Oh, I can put him on. All right, anyway, let me finish this and I'll go up and deal with that. We went to the Rhombus and we just started, it's like this magical place, man. The Rhombus, really, it's got this energy. And you climb up, you have to climb, it's hard to get up on. It's this big, you climb up on this thing.
Is this a big rhombus?
The Rhombus in the middle of this huge field.
Where is
Dead
it?
serious. Where is it?
People will make pilgrimages.
I don't know if I can tell you where it is. It's kind of in a secret place. But it's real. If you find it,
you know you found it.
If you ask around, you'll probably find it. It's near where I grew up. I'll say that much. But anyway, we got up on the Rhombus and just whenever we get on the Rhombus, the sun will go down. And the incredible thing about the Rhombus is it's no one ever comes there. I've never seen anyone there except us. This group of friends of ours, and we're close to 30 years old, average age, and we've been doing this since we were in 8th grade, going to this Rhombus, and sitting on top of it and singing. It's just as cool now as it ever was. Last time we went out there, like I said, a couple months ago, Tom got married the night before, and we were there, and we got inside the Rhombus, we got the top off of it, and we were in the Rhombus, and it was pitch black, and we were just beating, primally screaming and beating on the inside of this Rhombus, and then it's crazy. The whole thing was crazy, and then we actually started a fire in the Rhombus, lit the inside of the Rhombus on fire, and put the roof back on, and we were climbing on top of it, and it was like turning into this blast furnace. There were these tiny holes. There were just steam was just like shooting out of these little things because the fire was, and we were screaming and singing. That's where Divided Sky was written. On the field, walking through the field toward the Rhombus one day. Just this incredible moment. It was me and Tom and my friend Dobbs. And I had this acoustic guitar, and we just the clouds were just splitting open up above us, and we threw this acoustic guitar on the ground and just started beating on it, singing Divided Sky, spur of the moment. But it's incredible. But last time we were there, we wrote 5 songs, and every time we go there, we don't write them, we just sit there singing, at the top of our lungs, and playing guitar. It's so great, man. as far as the lyric origins of the lyrics, I would say, to answer that question in not such a roundabout way, this group of friends that I grew up with from Princeton,
Right.
just were the coolest. I mean, just such a creative bunch of people, and just we played off each other, and we're still, Tom and I, like I said, are still working together, and Dave and I, Runaway Jim was written around that ninth grade or something, not the, what happens is a lot of these things stick with me in my head, like the chorus, just things we used to sing, like we used to just sing Runaway Jim, like the chorus sort of, it wasn't even the same as it is now, it was just, I had a dog, his name was Jim,
Mm-hmm.
and run away, that, and then I take them and write more lyrics to them, write a story behind it, yeah. And with Tom sends me stuff in the mail a lot of time, or we'll get together. But usually he sends me things in the mail, but I'll put them to music. That was the case with Bouncing Around the Room, Lawn Boy, Squirming Coil, Stash. Well, Stash was different. Stash was like 5 of his poems that I took little lines out of each song and put them into one thing. Guelah Papyrus, he sent me in the mail.
Who wrote the lyrics to Excise?
Tom. Those are great lyrics. Oh my God. I don't know if you can understand them.
Well, the image I get, which might be totally off base, I mean, it makes me think of like skating or playing hockey on a frozen pond.
But see, do you get that he has a battle with his image underneath? I love those lyrics. That, to me, it's one of Tom's 2 best. It's a tough tune. Is that the image you got?
Yeah. There's a mirror image.
Right.
I mean, an ice,
Right.
being a reflective surface.
Yeah.
Facilitates that.
Right. And then they try to, and you don't. This time it says they like are trying to. They battle it out. Like the guys under the ice trying.
There's danger involved, just like falling through ice.
Right.
If you're skating.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I love those lyrics. I was completely blown away when he gave me those lyrics. It's the part where goes, well, all the stuff that he's tied to me or him, I'm tied to him or him to me, depending who you ask. Because like their feet are hooked together, And he says, let's see, it goes, I press on the elastic sheet, I'm breathing through a slice. That's the guy under it. It's sung basically by the guy under the ice. But then it becomes one of those things where, then it says, I press on the elastic sheet, I'm breathing through a slice. And then the other guy on top says, are they worms or are they serpents, in quotes, bubbled through the ice. The source was quite invisible, the ever-present voice. While skating, both legs tracing different shapes, I made my choice. Like that could be either one. And then, I'm mimicking the image in whose radiance I bask. I'm tied to him or him to me, depending who you ask. And it says, all the same reluctantly, reflections tumble in. I slide with all the others on the wrong side of the skin. I really like that line. They're like all skating around, and then it says, he's fallen on the ice. It cracks. Will he plunge in and join me here? He meets my eyes, to my surprise. He laughs in full light of my frown. My double wants to pull me down. So he wants to pull it down. It's a really heavy song. I really think that song is. I'm glad people are liking it. I was a little worried that, and the music is, it's like it's tumbling downwards. I was worried that when we played it live, people were going to just think this is too much. I can't deal with this.
Oh, I love
but
it. No,
like on the album, I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be great. I think it's good. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy that people are liking it so much because it's fun to play. It's definitely a kind of a new direction, but sort of maybe an old direction. I don't know what it is, but I really like those lyrics. He's got this one other thing that he wrote that I haven't actually put to music yet, which is my favorite thing that he's done, called Rift. We did it for a while, and I didn't really think that the music did it justice, so we stopped doing it. But I might try to. I've been trying to put it to music. I don't know. Some of them, you get them. Tom and I we have a good connection. Some of them I'll get them in the mail. You just know exactly how they're supposed to go, right off the bat. And it's always different than how he was hearing it. Like the rhyme scheme would be different. Like Bouncing Around the Room is a good example. It's like, it took 5 minutes. I mean, I got it in the mail and I ran upstairs and it was done. I knew exactly how it should go, And that one could have been, I mean, with the rhyme scheme at first, it was, he didn't expect it to go the way I had heard it. But it's just something about growing up together and having sung songs so much. I mean, that's always what we did. It's really easy to work with him. Same with Guelah Papyrus, where I felt like, I knew right away, what the thing should be. And that's a funny one, that's about my friend Dave, who I wrote Runaway Jim with. It's about his mom. Sort of. I don't know what you can say.
He looks too much like Dave?
That's him.
That's Dave?
He looks too much like Dave. The whole joke of McGruff was that line. And that song, Wilson?
Mm-hmm.
Wilson was written by Tom and my friend Aaron. Aaron Wolf is a real person.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that was, the two of them at this party one night wrote that. Yeah, kind of. He also, it's all tied in together. He also is becoming a filmmaker now. He's in film school, and he had this idea for a film where it was a Vietnam thing in Vietnam where this woman had a child of a Vietnamese soldier, American soldier in Vietnam. The soldier was leaving, and this is the first scene in the movie. The soldier's leaving, and these Vietnamese women are trying to take the baby, trying to throw him the baby, and he throws the baby, and the baby, this mine goes off, or the bomb goes off or something, and the baby gets hit, not killed, but his hands and feet are mangled. But he grows up to be a genius anyway. Like, that's what he told me. And then the next day I started writing Your Hands and Feet Are Mangoes. Like, me and Tom started singing that chorus. And then I went and wrote all those lyrics about the waiter, So it was like Aaron, that's always all connected like that. But Wilson, there's lines in Wilson about my other friends who we used to always play music with. It was just a totally musical group. The whole time we were in high school, all we did was jam. And it was my friend Peter, who was on the original version of Slave to the Traffic Light, which is on that white Phish tape. All the stuff is tied together. My friend Peter is playing the drums. He's a drummer. He's on it. And then my friend Roger was playing acoustic guitar on that tape on this thing called Aftermath. I don't know if you've heard it. This is kind of a really old tape, but some people have it. Anyway, it says, I talked to Mike Christian, Raj and Pete the same. That's Raj and Pete. That's my friends Raj and Pete. And then there's some other, the whole thing. And then all this, it's so funny, and all this stuff just grew out of all these bizarre connections like that. So I owe those guys a lot. They're really happy. I mean, the funniest scene was like about a year ago. My friend Aaron didn't even know that this whole band existed or anything. Like a year ago. He had no idea about any of this. And I'm telling you, we wrote Guelah Papyrus was something we used to sing every day at school in 8th grade. 15 years, at least 15 years ago. More than that. I don't know. However long. A long time ago. And he came to this, I got him to come to this gig at the Marquee. And we did Guelah. He was like standing there just freaking out. But the thing was that he had actually heard it. It's not the whole story. I just remember. The whole story is that he was at a party in California. He had no idea about the band, and somebody put it on the stereo. That's right. Because then I met this other guy who told me that he was at the party, and Aaron started going, I wrote this! Wait a minute. He said he was totally, and they're like, no, man, this is Phish. He's like, what are you talking about? I wrote this. And the whole thing, I mean, the runs like a dog.
Chicken soup. Smell more chicken. Maybe I should eat after all. I should eat.
Okay. A brambling.
I gotta have a sandwich that I'm probably not gonna eat. You want?
What kind?
Chicken parm with cheese and onions.
I was
Yeah.
Love it.
Yours.
Thank you.
You got another question?
Yeah, it was one thing. I was
Did I answer
just
you?
curious.
It's gonna be hard to dissect all this
Hey,
stuff.
I even if I only pick out a few lines, it's cool.
Right.
One thing I wanted to ask before I forgot was where did the whole tramp thing come from?
Oh, that was one of a long series of jokes that we started laughing about in band practice,
I'm gonna eat the.
and then we just did. And that one was funny. Instead, usually we come up with things in band practice that we think are the funniest things in the world, and we do them, and they're just completely stupid. So that happens all the time. I mean, there's been a number of times we've made total idiots out of ourselves on stage. It happens all the time, sure.
Yeah,
plenty of people have seen us do it.
It's part of the experience.
It's embarrassing sometimes, especially Phish. I mean, like the time he told the joke.
I know there's this one thing that he was going. He was like singing, and it's from Townsend Park, like Somerville Theatre ago. He's singing, like he starts singing "If I Only Have a Brain." He starts singing the last line first, and he like starts talking about like I always. He's like ding 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 play. It's great.
Yeah, so that was one of those things that actually was fun, but or something, or fun. This is.
Where did he get his ideas to do these crazy stunts with his outfits?
Oh, Phish or
Phish, yeah.
Oh, him? Oh, he just somebody just gave him that dress and put it on, and he's like, we're like, I don't know, he's like that all the time. I don't know. It just doesn't seem. We just really what it is. We just act the same way on stage that we do. Like, you know this wig Mike's been wearing?
Yeah.
You know the wig?
Yeah.
Like he wore it to, like we went to Elektra to have this big meeting, like business meetings at Elektra about our album. And today we went to meet with our lawyer and he had the wig on. You know, and we're sitting there in this business meeting and you look over and there's Mike with his wig on. It's pretty fun. I don't know. Those are just kind of funny things.
Yeah. That's what,
Oh, really?
that's where you get your yucks when you're seeing it. It's good.
We gotta do something, right?